Hey Survivor, Seth Yates here. It's day 147. Send Seth to Survivor. And I am standing at the St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Stindle, Indiana, where I grew up as a boy. And this little concrete pavilion outside the church right now where I'm standing, next overlooking the cemetery, that's where my grandmother, the single greatest person I've ever met in my life, would sit with the other old women of the church, the sewing circle. They would make these quilts all year long, and then they would sell them. This was the quilt. This is where they would sell the quilts, the quilt shop, you know. Right there during the 4th of July picnic, that's where they would serve food, hamburgers, fish sandwiches. Cemeteries right there, playgrounds down that way. On the other side of the cemetery is a softball field. Used to be a softball field. We get it ready every year, once a year. Have a softball tournament from sun up to sundown. Great memories. There's some stories of glory still told about the softball tournaments we used to play out there. I was always in charge of getting it ready. One day a year, okay, so it was basically a field. One day a year we'd disc it up, we'd get it ready. It was about 8 inches of dirt. It was like baby powder, brown baby powder out there. It's no longer there. It's all grown up. Somebody bought that piece of land. But my grandmother is buried in the cemetery. My grandfather I never met, who was in World War II, a medic in World War II, came home, did pass away later, had 5 children, my aunts and uncles and my mom, of course. My uncle is out here. His name is Dale Reller. He is the greatest, one of the greatest 5 people I've ever met in my life, greatest man I've ever met in my life, for sure. And I just want to give you a little piece of my history, Survivor. These are the stories. This is where I grew up. This is where the stories were made, the legends were made, I should say, of all the stories of the stupid shit we did when we were kids and all the great memories that are in my mind. And everything that's made me who I am today is largely in part to this church, this picnic, the picnic that we had here for years growing up. I mean, you wake up on the 4th of July at 5 a.m. because you knew that Reuben Butke was selling water pistols and inflatable toys down there. You had to get here early for that, get your poppers, as you were an adult, you would get over here and get ready to play softball all day long in this blistering heat. It's always 105 degrees. Ladies of the church would be up here selling quilts. People would be getting hamburgers and hot dogs and fish sandwiches over here. This was a hell of a place to grow up in this little town in Stindle, southern Indiana. And Survivor, I wouldn't change it for the world. A lot of this place is in me. And when I get to Survivor, when I get to Fiji, I'm going to be carrying a lot of those memories and a lot of those experiences with me, and a lot of people are going to see that, and they're going to know, hey, that's the kid that used to play softball, or that's the kid that used to be at Reuben's store buying this and that, or that's the kid that got shot in the leg with a bottle rocket that time, or that's the guy that got the field ready to play softball, or the guy that rubbed too much icy hot too far up his leg one time, and it was a pretty embarrassing story. Maybe I'll tell you that sometime. I got that in the wrong places, Survivor. Places you don't want to ever get icy hot. That shit burns. I bet I look like a total lunatic trying to get that stuff rubbed off of me, and you can't unrub it, if you know what I'm saying. So, Survivor, you know I love you. You know I'm dedicated, and I'm just trying to give you some insight into who I am, how I got to be who I am, and why I'm going to be so freaking good on that show when I get over there to Fiji. So I will see you tomorrow.